Good morning, traders. I am Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, November 18th. Stocks are attempting to make up some ground that they lost last week following a pullback from the post-election rally and as investors await the Fed's next move. On Friday, the Dow slipped 305 points or 0.7%. The S&P 500 gave up 78 points or 1.32%. The Nasdaq tumbled 427 points or 2.24%. Bill, let's get into a new week with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're flat to lower. We're down 0.01%, which really is flat. We were trading higher earlier this morning, but those gains have been given up. And now we're flat to lower. We do have a lot of good earnings announcements coming out. NVDA, Walmart, Target, TJ Maxx, Lowe's, and others. A lot of retail stocks this week. But then you got to look at the shares of Tesla this morning, which really are rallying. You look at Tesla this morning, the stock's up 6%. It was up 8%. Now it's pulled back a little bit. The Trump administration apparently is looking at ways to create federal guidelines or federal rules for self-driving cars. This is a benefit for Elon Musk and, shares of Tesla. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. But, the stock's up by over, $19 this morning. CVS Health, they added 4 new board members to satisfy a request from an activist hedge funds. Spirt Airlines files for bankruptcy protection. President Biden met with China's President Xi over the weekend. China's really more concerned with the incoming Trump administration than the outgoing Biden administration. They did have some talks, but no major agreements were made because China's looking ahead. And Trump's cabinet picks. I mean, they continue to kind of weigh on the markets. There's a lot of weakness still in the drug sector because of, RFK Jr. being nominated to that post overseeing the Drug Administration. So confirmation processes will start to become, an issue. The only one that I feel that's not going to happen is Matt Gaetz. I don't see how he can be Attorney General, but we'll have to wait and see how that comes out. Let's take a look at what happened overseas or is happening overseas. In Europe, there was weakness. There was a little strength early in the morning, but now we're seeing all 3 major indexes trading lower. You got the DAX down 78 points or 0.41%. You got the FTSE down 7 points or 0.09%. The CAC is lower by 5 points or 0.34%. We are waiting on some comments from ECB officials that could turn things around, but bond yields are rising, which is, kind of creating weakness in European tech and industrial stocks. But in London, you are seeing some gains in the mining stocks. They're showing some positive action. But the ECB policymakers and what they foresee in terms of interest rates in the weeks and months ahead, that's really going to be key for these European markets. But we are seeing weakness across the board in Europe this morning. Asia last night. Asia saw mixed price action, but I would say mixed to lower. The Nikkei fell 422 points. That's 1.09%. The Shanghai fell 6 points or 0.21%. But the Hang Seng rose 150 points or 0.77%. In China, in Japan, the head of the BOJ came out and talked about moving rates higher as the economy develops. That makes the yen weaken, which causes stock prices to pull back. But in China, you have the regulators talking about how they're urging companies to boost M&A activity, stock employment programs, cash dividends, and share buybacks. That was really the impetus for the Hang Seng to move higher overnight. But China stocks just remain flat. They didn't really see a move on it. Then we're taking a look at it. We're keeping an eye on oil as we always do. And oil is trading flat to higher. You got WTI at $67.10 a barrel. You got Brent at $71.26 a barrel. The main issue is the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. I mean, it's whenever there's potential supply disruptions, I mean, the market is sensitive. And, oil prices were up 0.5%. They pulled back a little bit because they are worried about, some supply issues because, Biden did allow Ukraine to use the long-term missiles that they have to hit targets deeper inside of Russia, and that could mean oil infrastructure, and that could be a problem for oil prices. But I just need to point out, it's like, the shale business in the U.S. has issues going forward because the newer wells in the Permian Basin, they have a break-even price of about $67, $68 a barrel. So it's not profitable for them to pump oil at this level. Um, the older wells, the older wells are good. They're profitable at $38 a barrel. So, the majority of the wells are probably okay, but the newer wells, you're really in a tight range. So that some of that production could start to go offline. So you could see, oil. I don't see that we're going to see too much weakness in WTI going forward because of those break-even prices. On the newer shale wells, which is a concern that I have for oil. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
And Bill, as we dive into this new week, we can hear from your opening there is plenty to be watching. One of those areas is earnings action. Though there's not a ton of earnings, there's really some important names coming out, NVDA being one of them. So give us a rundown of what we should be watching when it comes to earnings action.
There was Twist Biosciences this morning, TWST, Tom Williams, Sam, Tom. They beat by 10 cents. They only lost 59 cents, where the expected estimate was for them to lose 69 cents. But they did do it on higher revenue. So, that is, that is positive. You look at the stock this morning, it is higher by 13.5%. That's good for Twist Biosciences. But upcoming, this afternoon, we got Trip.com, TCOM, Tom, Charlie, Oscar, Mary. Their EPS is 91 cents. Expected move is 12.10%. Then tomorrow morning, you have Walmart, ticker WMT, William Michael Tom. Their EPS is 53 cents. Expected move is 5.33%. And Lowe's, ticker LOW, Larry, Oscar, William. Their EPS is $2.81. Expected move is 4.31% when they release tomorrow morning, Emily.
And Bill, you'll be watching all of those reports using your newsware. You're also looking at economic reports this morning, as well as Fed speak. The future path of rates and monetary policy. There's some question marks around that, really sort of changing sentiment in the market. So keeping track of this information day in and day out becomes increasingly important. So Bill, what is going on in terms of economic events?
The economic calendar is kind of light this week. With the highlight going to be Friday's flash PMI data coming out. Manufacturing will probably be light, and service sector will probably be a little stronger. That's kind of what the expectations are. But today we have the housing market index. That data is coming out at 10 a.m. The bigger one would be, the commentary that we're going to hear from Chicago Fed Bank President Austin Goolsbee, who's going to be speaking today. But realistically, it's kind of a light week for economic reports. Treasury Secretary, that's the big one. That nomination could happen today or tomorrow. There's a lot of infighting going on, and who's it going to be? I don't think there is a clear front runner just yet, but we'll have to wait and see what happens this week to see who's nominated for Treasury Secretary, Emily.
And Bill, along with watching your earnings action and those economic events, you're still keeping track of more news, data, and information, things coming out of different sectors and segments. You're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news this morning. You're also looking at your stocks grouped together, your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I got 14. I'm looking at my Dow stocks doing a data check. I got 14 higher, 14 lower, a couple unchanged. So, we're not seeing any real activity. And, we're seeing mixed action in the FANG stocks as well. I mean, losses in Meta and Netflix, but gains in Tesla, Google, and Amazon and Apple. So we'll have to wait and see how the S&Ps react when they open up. But, looking at some of the news behind the headlines, Google and Meta, I mean, there's a House bill out there, regarding online kid safety, and it's stalling in Congress. Google and Meta apparently have poured in over $90 million into lobbying efforts, and that's what's causing, that bill to really stall, because if it passes, it could be a negative for those companies. Netflix, they had that Tyson Paul match over the weekend. 60 million viewers. That's breaking records. But you look at Netflix this morning; it is trading lower. The news hit, so came in as expected. So the stock is trading down 1.57% this morning. Tesla, Tesla's up 5.93% this morning. The Trump administration is seeking to create federal framework for self-driving cars. That's a boost for Tesla. So I'm not surprised to see it moving higher. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, Amgen. Weakness remains in the stock. We're seeing the stock down over 1% again today due to RFK's pledge to make sweeping changes to public health. McDonald's, ticker MCD, they're investing $35 million into marketing efforts to try and recover from the recent E. coli outbreak. Spirit, let's talk merger news. Spirit Airlines filed for bankruptcy. Chapter 11. They had they couldn't get two deals done. One with JetBlue, another one with Frontier. As those merger deals roll through, they really didn't have a lifeline. So ticker SAVE, SAVE, filed for bankruptcy. Not good. In terms of guidance news, Twist Biosciences, they see full year 2025 revenue coming in 367 million to 377 million. Street estimate is at 373 million. Okay, it's in the midpoint, not bad. In terms of shareholder stuff going on this morning, Fortnite, ticker FTNT, Frank, Tom, Nancy, Tom, they're holding an analyst day today at 10:15 a.m. Principal Financial, they're having an investors day at 1 p.m. That's ticker PFG. And don't forget the Microsoft Ignite conference. That's starting this week. And CEO of Microsoft is scheduled to speak there tomorrow morning. So if you see some weakness in Microsoft today, it might be worth considering. In terms of buyback news, ticker GL, Global Life, Grace Larry, their board approved authorization to repurchase up to $1.8 billion worth of stock. And that's what I have for you in terms of news in the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to start this week?
I'm going to go with Fortnite, FTNT, Francie, Tom, Nancy, Tom. Listen, that analyst meeting today, the analyst meetings are like pep rallies, and I expect to see some, positive commentary coming out of it. And it could be some press releases, could be some, analyst rating changes, but I do think FTNT could have some positive momentum today. I'm looking at Friday's call volume, 9,793 calls, traded to 3,853 puts. Very positive. Open interest, 107,201 to 119,449. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't hit. So it's not hitting all my, data points, but I still like it. Major brokers, they like the stock. Their price targets are beneath where the stock is. So that's why I could see some, higher price targets come in. But there is caution here. This isn't hitting all my data points. But I do think that, it could turn out to be a winner this morning. I just want to get in under 94. I want to get in, 93.60 area. I think there could be some trades at the 93.60 area. And if I can get in there, I think I could be able to make 1% on the day. So that's my pick of the day. Fortnite, ticker FTNT, 93.60, Emily.
Watching that with you today, and coming up before we sign off, we will do a recap on Friday's pick of the day, so stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Ticker LOCO, Larry Oscar, Charlie Oscar, El Polo Loco extends Taco Tuesday, offering ads to Apple and Google Pay capabilities. Interesting. Could help. GameStop, GME, they added Nat Turner to the board of directors. CVS adds 4 new directors following an agreement with Glenview. And Dell Technology ships its first NVDA server racks. Could bode well for Dell, shares of Dell. Medicare fuels U.S. coverage of Novo and Lilly's weight loss drugs. CareMax files for Chapter 11 restructuring. Airbnb asking Barcelona's mayor to rethink a widening crackdown on short-term apartment rentals. Uh, Amazon got fined, a couple million, $2 million in Turkey. T-Mobile, hey, their network was hacked last week. Chinese cyber espionage operations said to gain entry into multiple U.S. international telecom companies. Warner Brothers, WBD, they settled their breach of contract lawsuit against the NBA. That's all I have for you this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off this morning, let's do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day, which was Disney. I did see a number of price target raises on the stock this morning. Bill, you were trading this one on Friday. Following that positive earnings announcement, you were hoping for some weakness and that it would have some momentum from there. So, Bill, how did your call work out?
Worked out well. I mean, it was a good pick. The market was horrible on Friday, but Disney was one of the stocks in the green all day. I mean, it opened up at 110.25. It ran, it hit a high of 115 and 19 cents before closing at 115.08. So, yeah, Walt Disney, DIS was a solid winner in a red day, in a sea of red. Disney really stood out, and that was our pick of the day on Friday, Emily.
A solid win there, Bill, certainly, especially as everything else seemed to be sinking. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Fortinet pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning with NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.